In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His last and beloved Messenger Muhammad, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. The title of this presentation is The Mercy of Allah God in the Creation of Teeth. So we'll see, brothers and sisters, a sign of the mercy of Allah God Almighty in our body that we can see every day in the mirror. So when Allah God Almighty decided to create the masticatory system, the system that facilitates the chewing of food, then the mercy requires that food should be crushed with minimum effort from your jaw muscles, such that there would be no fatigue and no pain when you perform mastication or the action of chewing. So this is the mercy requirement, one of the mercy requirements when Allah God Almighty wanted to create the masticatory system. Now let's see, brothers and sisters, how the knowledge of Allah God Almighty comes to show this mercy requirement into a created object. So we say here, the knowledge of Allah God comes to show this mercy in that He created teeth, as we see here. So when you look at your teeth, you see that they are pointy at the ends. So this causes the concentration of force when you chew food. This pointy ends of the teeth, they make the force concentrated in the piece of food you are chewing, and it makes it easier to break the bonds between the atoms. So this design of Allah God Almighty and this creation of Allah for the teeth, it makes it easier for you to crush and chew food. It's like a knife effect. So when you use a knife, you can cut objects or food easily because the small contact volume between the knife and the food, as I said, it concentrates the force in a small region, a small volume, and thus it can break the bonds between the food far more easily. So let's see here. So as a sign of the mercy of Allah Almighty in the creation of teeth, is that He placed mechanisms that, let's see here, so that Allah Almighty designed the teeth so that the ends are sharp. This in turn would result in crushing the food with minimum amount of effort from masticatory muscles, from jaw muscles. This sharpness causes stress concentration in the region of contact, the contact region between the teeth and the piece of food being chewed, which crushes the piece of food with ease. This is one mechanism. Let's see another. Also, as a sign of the mercy of Allah God Almighty in the creation of teeth, is that He placed mechanisms in the masticatory system which cause that in the time of contact between the teeth and the piece of food, teeth would vibrate by being displaced upward and downward like a hammer, which generates high energy within the piece of food, which would break it with ease at the minimum amount of energy from masticatory muscles. So what I mean by this is that when you chew, your teeth are not static, they are dynamic. They vibrate up and down millions of cycles per second. It's like a hammer. So when you have a hammer and you want to crush a piece of rock, you see that the end of the hammer, it vibrates up and down, which delivers so much energy to the piece of rock and it shatters it. So also as a sign of the mercy of Allah Almighty into our body, Allah designed the teeth such that they vibrate up and down. It's like a small hammers hitting the piece of food being chewed, and thus you can crush it with ease. It's very easy to crush the piece of food. So it's like a hammer. So we show two mechanisms. The sharpness in the teeth, it's like a knife effect. It causes the cutting of food and crushing food to be easier. Also, your teeth vibrate up and down like a hammer, crushing the food with ease. So glory be to Allah God Almighty. We see how He is the most merciful and how He integrated mercy mechanisms in our body. Basically, your body is mercy, which Allah God Almighty created as an object. And to know more details about this topic, please visit my website at www.quran-miracle.com, and you can email me at zaidquran@gmail.com, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.